Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. This year's Dave. I got a special guest, top all-call funny car driver, Robbie Massey. How you doing, Robbie?
Doing great, Dave. How are you?
Not bad. So you went out to Funny Car Chaos the past weekend. How did you do at Funny Car Chaos?
Looking back, I really think I did well. I mean, on paper, it doesn't look like I did well. I went out on the first round, but I felt good about the passes I made. I made good decisions, and I'm just really looking forward to the next time I get in the seat.
Now, are you going to be running any more Funny Car Chaos events this year?
It's kind of up in the air right now, but I really hope to.
No, I know you're waiting for the actual season to start for your top all-car funny car.
Yeah, exactly. We had a full schedule planned for this year, but obviously with everything going on, kind of threw a wrench in the deal. But was really happy to get out, last weekend and get out with the Funny Car Chaos crew. It definitely put some of their other races on the radar for us, but kind of up in there on where we're going to go the rest of the year.
So, did you have fun with running with those guys?
Oh yeah. It was a lot more laid back, than the NHRA stuff. Because it was basically the mission there was just to have fun. Whatever happened. We were just there to put a show on for the fans. So.
Yeah, then long as you got a funny car body on that car, you can bring it in there and run it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, who did you go up against for that weekend?
That weekend, I know I went up with the eventual winner. The first round, I had the eventual winner. It was the Detroit Tiger car, I believe. I left on him, but about probably just before 3:30, we got a little loose on there, and I got sideways. I pedaled it, but it wasn't enough to get the win. But congrats to them. They made a good A to B pass, and just need more seat time,
Yeah, that Detroit Tiger car. Steve's got that car set on kill.
Oh yeah, no, that car runs well. I was very impressed. They made great passes all weekend, so I knew we were going to have to be on our A game, and we took a little power out of it the first round. But when I was just about to bang second gear, it got loose on me, and I probably could have caught it a little earlier and maybe slapped the throttle and did a little better job. But hindsight's 20/20. So.
Yeah. Well, at least you had fun though.
Oh yeah, it's always a blast. I mean, shit, I'm living the dream, So.
Yeah, Chris Graves and Tara, they do a great job doing that Funny Car Chaos.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be attending a lot in the future for sure. This was our first kind of. I mean, at the beginning of the year, once everything happened, and we kind of seen how the year was going to play out. We really wanted to hit one of their events, but I was really, really hesitant to hit an 8th mile event just because I've never been on a track that's been with that sort of shut off. But I'm really glad I did because you just got to own up to your fears sometimes and make it happen. So.
Yeah. So now, Robbie, how did you get into drag racing?
Well, my dad's been in racing ever since he was my age, even before that. So I was a little doomed from the start, but he got me into it. I've been in a junior dragster since I was 7 years old. So it's been in my blood. It's all I've known. It's all I've wanted since then. So that's how it got started. When I graduated out of junior dragsters, I I was lucky enough to secure a Copo Camaro to drive for Carl Chevrolet for Carl Moyer, and we ran the NHRA divisional events with that, and we had a little success. And then, past that, we got a top dragster. We ran a lot with that. We just basically ran local stuff, a little big money bracket race stuff too. And then probably I'd say a year after that, Vern Motes, who was one of my dad's associates for years, they've been friends forever. It was one of my dad's best friends, and he built cars for him, helped him out any way he could. He passed away, and fortunately we got the car. I was able to get my license last year at Topeka with it, and now this year we're trying to make some moves with it, and that's where we're at now.
Now, when you drove in Junior Dragster, did you have success?
Oh yeah. I mean, up until this point, that's probably my most successful point was in the juniors. I won a lot of stuff. I won the divisional and NHRA and IHRA. I won the Western Conference Finals in Denver. I got real close to winning the Eastern Conference Finals too. I didn't get it done there, but yeah, that's some of my most fondest memories is running the junior dragster for sure. And my dad's the only one to thank for that. My dad and Shelly, my stepmom, they drug that trailer around the freaking Midwest for me. So.
How many years did you say you did juniors?
Since I was 7, so 7 to 18, so yeah, 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was your first time experience going down a drag strip in a junior dragster?
I mean, it was pretty crazy. It's kind of hard to remember now. I remember my first race though for sure because I remember I lost the first round, and it was actually at Eddyville where the Funny Car Chaos was at. And we got into the consolation class, and I actually ended up winning my first race. So I was pretty stoked about that. But yeah, after that, it's almost kind of a blur because Dad just went, he went all out. So
now the other cars that you've raced in after the junior dragster, did you have any success in those cars?
Oh yeah, with the Copo, I mean we struggled with it at first. Fortunately, I was able to get a divisional win with it. But it was definitely a great experience. You kind of got the feel of what it was like to compete in NHRA events, and yeah, no, it was real good experience and exposure to kind of competing in front of people, competing with the best. But yeah, nope, that was my first experience with the big cars. So
now the funny car you currently have, this is the first funny car you've drove?
This is the first funny car I've driven. Yep.
So how was your first time experience in a funny car? Having the body raised down on you and all that, no claustrophobia, nothing like that, right?
No, there was definitely claustrophobia. I'd say that's the first big step, man. Getting strapped into that thing, it almost feels like you're getting suffocated, But it's just the nerves of strapping into a freaking almost 4,000 horsepower car. You can't move, your head can't move, because that's the safety of it. You gotta be tied in there. And I think that the first time I raced it, it was probably a 90-degree day, so I got the full experience. But even before you even start the car, it's a test for sure.
So how many passes have you made in that car now?
I want to say, we're probably approaching on the probably 30 30 runs. So really, I'm still pretty green.
So what's the quickest pass you made with that car?
I've been my last licensing pass. I went 584 at like 240. That was at Topeka.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we went to St. Louis later in the year, and I think I got out of it a little earlier, just kind of lost my thought in the track and was kind of trying to get on the chutes, early enough to make sure I got stopped and do everything correctly. But I think we maybe went 588 in St. Louis. But yeah, so I haven't been too terribly quick yet, but I'm ready for it. I'm definitely respecting the car and all the feelings and shakes it does. I'm trying to learn it and not get overconfident because I know how fast it can turn bad. So,
well, you got to make sure you cut a good tree.
yeah, I always had kind of an advantage on that because when we were in juniors, we raced 410 Pro Tree quite a bit, so I knew how important getting a good start was. So that's always been my focus leading up to Funny Car Chaos. I think for the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to that event, I was on the practice tree every night. And with the new porta trees, they even have shift lights. So I was practicing my shift points too. I was just making sure I could do whatever I could do that I was able to control, and make sure I wasn't going to screw anything up,
Yeah. Now let's talk about your funny car. What make is the body on that car?
It's a 2006 Ford Mustang body. It was the last body that Vern ran. I really love the car. I love the look of it. The name escapes me of who built it. It's not really too big a name, but the chassis works really, really well. But we plan on leaving the same wrap, the same body style on it for as long as we can, until we can make something happen to get more support and get a better body. Yeah, I have no complaint about it at all. So definitely, there's definitely a lot of better stuff out there, but yeah, we have about as good of car as you can have. So
now, are you running a screw blower?
Yep, we're running a screw blower. Yep.
What kind of tires are you running?
What's that?
What kind of tires are you running on the car?
Right now we're running Hoosiers. I can't remember the exact size, but I know they're the biggest you can run. And they're non-beadlock wheels. Originally the car had beadlock wheels on it, but in our initial testing, we kind of have, I guess, come to the conclusion that these are the best that you can run because you're wanting a little slippage of the tires. You don't want to just dead hook. So the non-double beadlocks is kind of what we've been going with.
So how many events did you guys run last year with the car?
Last year, I want to say we ran two divisional events last year. We ran Earlville and then St. Louis.
And how'd you do?
I mean, myself, looking back, I think we did really well. We missed the field for both. The Earlville event, we could have made first round, but we actually backfired the blower on the last qualifying pass and hurt the motor. So, yeah, that's kind of been the story of my career thus far. Yeah, on my last licensing pass, actually, we ended up throwing all the rods out of the motor. And so I got the full experience, with my last licensing pass of, the good and the bad. So.
Now, do you have any sponsorship at all?
Yeah, I do. Carl Chevrolet, Carl Customs, they help me out quite a bit. They let me take, as much time as I need off of work. They give me any type of support I need or I ask. Brad Anderson, he helps us out a lot too with the combination. He'll turn around our stuff as quick as anybody, and give us the best deal he can. But as far as that, I'm still pretty young in the game, so we're always looking for help and whatever we can. Luckily enough, I got my father and Shelly to help fund this thing, help fund my dream. So I'm really blessed, and I couldn't be more thankful for the position I'm in, because right now we don't have the most support that I think you could probably have, but I'm always working to be the best driver I can and hope to get noticed. So.
Now, who are your crew members that keep this car running?
It's actually, it kind of goes way back, because, like I've said before, this is Vern Motz's last car that he's driven. Todd Graham and his daughter Taylor Graham, they're the main crew members. Todd's the chief guy on the bottom end. He's an expert on it, and he handles that part. Luckily, years prior, I've went and crewed for Andy Bull and done the clutch for him. So me and Taylor kind of handle that part of it. My dad will make all the final adjustments on the clutch, but as far as taking it out and kind of grinding on the discs and whatnot, we handle that part. But yeah, it's basically just my dad, Shelly, Todd Graham, Taylor Graham, and that's pretty much it right now. So it's pretty cool to have the same crew that Vern had. So it's all in his memory.
Now, throughout your drag racing career, from juniors till now, what milestones have you reached?
The greatest milestones I've reached is right now it's just obviously getting my top alcohol license. That's been a lifelong dream for me. I honestly never thought I could do it. I guess I thought I could do it, but I never thought it would happen. But I had a lot of success in juniors, a lot of great memories. I had probably the best childhood a racer could ask for. So I'm very thankful for that. But as far as milestones go in big cars, I have yet to see them. So.
Now, as far as the sport of drag racing goes, do you have anything on a bucket list that you still want to do?
Oh yeah. I want to. Well, of course, I want to win a championship in top alcohol. I want to win the U.S. Nationals. I've always wanted to drive a pro mod car, so that's on the bucket list too. How far that goes, it really doesn't matter. I just always wanted to, because those are always badass cars and super competitive, just like the top alcohol class. So I'd say the biggest accomplishment, though, that I kind of thrive for is the U.S. Nationals.
Now, if you could have your fans remember one thing about you, what would you want that to be?
My fans?
Yeah.
Just, every time I stage up to a line, I'm going to give the other guy, the best race I can. I'm always going to make him, if he beats me, I'm going to make him earn it. obviously that doesn't always go to plan. Sometimes it backfires, but I just always want to get. I always want to do my job. I never want the loss to be on me. That's my only goal, is just to never have the loss be on me. I always want to leave on the guy. I always want to do my best to get the car from the starting line to the finish line. I don't ever want to miss a shift. I don't ever want to make a dumb decision. Obviously, with funny cars, you're not worried about index or anything like that. So, yeah, I just want to make sure that I do my job. So.
Now, when you started drag racing, besides your dad being a big influence for you, you have any other drag racers that were big influences for you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I grew up around Vern Motes. He was my idol. I remember practicing my lights when I was 5, 6 years old against him, pro tree lights against him, and he was always the goal to get to where he was. I don't ever think that will happen, because he had a long, great career, and it'd be foolish to say that I'd be able to live up to that. But that's what I strive for sure.
Now, when you're out on the starting line in the funny car, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all?
Well, actually, at this last Funny Car Chaos event, like I had said earlier, we threw all the rods out of it in Topeka on my last licensing pass, and I even told the whole crew, my dad, everybody, that the oil pressure was low. The pass that it threw all the rods out of it. So before I do my burnout, before I stage, I have an oil pressure gauge. I always look at it. I always take note of it, and short of that, I just make sure that I can stage as shallow as I can, just so I can get as much real estate on the track that's possible. But I guess the number one is just making sure before I stab that throttle that I feel confident that thing's going to make it to the end, because you can hope for the other side to make a mistake, and you're not sure that you're going to make it to the end. But if you don't make it to the end, it's gonna cost you, and it may cost you, the whole racing season, because of how expensive it is. So.
Now, being one of the newer guys out there in the top Alcohol funny car, do you get any advice from any other seasoned drivers out there?
Oh yeah, they always say to not let the car get ahead of you, and I definitely feel that after the more passes I get, how quick that can happen. How quick everything happens. You got to be on top of it, and not really take anything for granted. But other than that, the biggest thing that I've seen is how willing the guys are to kind of give a helping hand, for whatever questions you have, whatever help you need, if you need parts, if you need this, you need that. That's kind of been unanimous, from NHRA to the Funny Car Chaos crowd. They're all willing to help. They don't care if you're going to run the next round or not. When we hurt the motor in Earlville, the Williams brothers, they offered up a set of pistons and rods for us, and that being our first official event, I feel like that's a pretty big deal, because that's not cheap stuff. So I really appreciate that, and it's something that I didn't really see in the wreck racing world. But yeah, as far as that goes, the help has been, it's been unlimited. So
Now, since you've started drag racing from a junior all the way till now, what still keeps you passionate about drag racing?
Just basically that's always been my goal, is to be successful at whatever car I'm racing at the beginning of the year. Like I said, ever since I was born, that's all I've seen is drag racing. So, my biggest goal is to win the biggest event every year. I don't care how big of an underdog I am. I always think I have a chance. I don't mean that to sound cocky or anything. I'm just saying that's the attitude you got to have. You can't go in there thinking you're going to lose, because if you do, then you're going to lose. So, that's been the biggest thing, is just having the confidence to know you can do it anytime. It can be your day at any time. You just got to make sure you're ready for it.
So now, what kind of prep goes into getting that funny car ready for a weekend of drag racing?
A lot more prep than any other car that I've had. It's an every week thing. It's an every night thing. You can't do too much maintenance. You can't do too much checks and balances, because that thing has a mind of its own. And as long as you do your due diligence and you kind of give yourself the best shot to make sure everything makes it from A to B, you really can't complain. But sometimes there's stuff that you just don't, you can't prepare for, because that Hemi motor has a mind of its own. It can do anything it wants at any time. So I guess the biggest thing is you can't do much pre-race maintenance. One of the biggest things that I've heard since I started was Vern always used to tear down his motors every race, no matter what happened. He would tear it down to bare block, check over everything. He would over-maintenance things because, that's something he watched. He watched the dollars. He never counted on sponsors. He always counted on himself. And that's just something, I strive to do. But, luckily my dad puts a lot of work onto this thing, and I'm just there to help make sure that, he checks everything, because some stuff that he thinks is okay, I want to double check, because I don't want to take anything for granted. So.
Right. Yep. Safety first.
Safety first is right. Yep.
Now, Robbie, do you have any favorite tracks to race on?
Well, I'd probably say, my favorite tracks is obviously the first is going to be Eddyville, Iowa. That's the first track I raced on. That's the track I raced on for Funny Car Chaos. The second and third tracks is going to be Denver, Colorado. That's where I won the Western Conference Finals. That's where I've got a lot of fond memories. And then Bristol, Tennessee. I never raced a big car at Bristol yet, but that's always been one of my favorite tracks too. So I'd say those three are definitely my favorite.
Now, are there any tracks out there that you haven't been to that you would love to get to one day? Yeah, for sure.
I've always wanted to race on Norwalk, Ohio. I think that would be a great track to race on. They always put on a phenomenal event, and we got some good memories with Andy Bull there. I believe he's won there, and I've always wanted to race there. Basically, all the tracks that the Anti-Trade Tour kind of visits has been on my to-do list.
Have you been to Martin, Michigan yet?
On the junior dragster I have. We had the ET finals there for a points championship there one year. I rounded up there in the junior, and I believe. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think Funny Car Chaos is going there, and I think that's one of the races we're looking to go to.
Yes, they are going there.
Yeah, yep, we'll be there. So that's definitely another track that I'd love to be there. I've only been there once, and I believe it was when I was 11 or 12 years old. So it's been a while, but I remember it's super nice, and I really can't wait to get back there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I got my fire suit, actually. It got handed down, and this kind of goes, tails off of how I got my start on the funny car. We're going to backtrack a little bit. So, when Vern passed away, we got the car. My dad purchased it, and it was sitting in my garage for the longest time. It was sitting there, and I went out to Vegas for the SEMA show because what I do from day to day is I tune EFI motors, electronic fuel injection. That's what I do. And every year when SEMA's going on, they have the divisional NHRA race there, and then the week after they have the national, or it may be reversed, but either way, I met my friend Chris Metapace there, and got to talking to him about it. That I had a funny car in my garage, and I wanted to race it. That was my dream, and he actually had been crewing for Bob DeVore. So he had a lot of experience with top alcohol funny cars. So he knew how to take things apart from the bare block, basically bare chassis, and build a funny car, from ground up. So, when we had some beers, we got to talking, and we kind of made it the point to say, hey, I'm going to come down to Des Moines. We're going to tear that thing apart. We're going to get it ready. We made it happen over the winter, and he came down. We tore everything apart, and it was all kind of downhill from there because he kind of got us on the right track, and my dad started getting the bug again because obviously that's what he grew up around, or that's what kind of made him keep going, was working on that thing. And I feel like he kind of got a taste for it again. And yeah, it was just basically all downhill from, tearing that thing down to the bare chassis, seeing what we needed, to make better, building it back up, and here we are now. So.
Yep. Now, yeah, all the time you get out there on the track, it's always a learning experience.
Oh yeah.
There's
always something to learn, and there's never anything you want to take for granted, and that's for sure.
All right, now I'm going to ask you some few fun questions here now.
Okay.
Outside of drag racing, do you have any other hobbies at all?
Yeah, I definitely do. I like working out. That was a big passion of mine there for a while. After I got out of juniors, I wasn't sure if I was going to get the big car again. So I got really into fitness and kind of focusing on, where I was going to take my career and this and that. But, short of that, I love golf, and I love being active. I love being outside. I got 2 German Shepherds. They're basically my life, so I always get them out. I love playing with my dogs. Family's a big thing for me, so you'll probably see me hanging with my family a lot more than, just friends in general. Just basically because most of my friends growing up were at the racetrack, so if I wanted to see one of my friends, they were out of state, so a lot of stuff to do with my family, but yeah, just basically being successful at whatever I wanted to lay my hat in was always my goal, whether it be golf, racing, my family, whatever. That, I've always strived to just do the best at whatever I can. So.
Now, in the top block funny car field, do you have a greatest competitor out of those guys, or they're all equally competitive for you?
Oh yeah, no, I'd say they're all equally competitive. Because any day can be someone's day. You don't ever won't ever take anybody for granted. You don't ever want to take a safe pass because whenever that happens, you could get outran. But I wouldn't say there's one person right now that I strive for than the other. No.
Now, throughout your drag racing career from juniors up to now, have you won a lot of trophies?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had quite a bit of trophies. Most of them were from juniors, but I gained a lot in the Copo Camaro, from bracket racing to divisional races, and then once we moved on from that, the dragster, I won a few on them, as well. But definitely the most success I've had is in the junior ranks, but that's kind of to be expected. That's where I got my starting point. So I think we raced the Copo for 2 or 3 years, and I think that's when I was just starting to get comfortable with the car. We were just starting to figure out the combination, and then the dragster was the same story. I had it for about 2 years. I was just starting to click with it, and then we were kind of on to the next thing. So I feel like that's the same with any car that any racer has. You got to have it for a couple of years before you're going to gain any success. Obviously there's some people that have success right off the bat, but yeah, it's always been kind of on the one, from one thing to the next. So.
Now, Robbie, if you were able to go into a time travel machine and go back into time, would you do anything differently with your racing career?
The only thing that I would do different is I've gotten invited to a lot of races to spectate, kind of be with friends and kind of help out. And I didn't, realize at the time that I could have gained a lot of experience just from being around them. That I've never been just kind of a spectator, so it was kind of hard for me to justify time to sacrifice, taking time off of work, taking time away from my family just to go out and enjoy myself. But that's definitely one of my biggest regrets is not going with the people that invited me when I had the chance. I know I heard of, kind of getting a little deeper here, but I kind of probably hurt a lot of feelings not going when I could have. But I just thought I was doing the right thing at the time. And that's one of my biggest regrets is definitely don't pass up. If your dream's to be a racer, don't pass up any time to not go to the racetrack, because there's always something you can learn. So.
Now, Robbie, in any of the classes that you've raced in, what's been your greatest race memory?
My greatest race memory, probably. I hate to go back to my junior career, but that's the longest time I've raced. Kind of a single car. I raced it since I was 8 till I was 18. And when I was 13, I won the Western Conference Finals, and that at that time was the biggest thing you could have won. And that was a surreal experience for me. My whole family was there. I had all my friends there. That was definitely the greatest memory as of now. A close second is definitely getting my top alcohol license, because like I said earlier, that's something I never thought I would do. It's always something I dreamt of doing, but never thought that was something I would do. So I'd say it's definitely a tie between winning that and getting my top alcohol license.
All right, what's been your most embarrassing moment out on the track?
My most embarrassing moment on the track. Man, there's probably a few, but I guess the most recent one that comes to mind is throwing all the rods out of the motor when I got my license.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I can't totally blame that on myself, but I kind of can, because I guess any experienced driver, they probably would have known, something was letting go, but I was more worried it was the last chance that I had to get my license, and I was just looking to get from, the start to the quarter mile, and boy, I did, but it was ugly after.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve. Ooh. Man, that's a tough one. I'm a pretty critical person, so I've got a lot of pet peeves, but I guess my biggest pet peeve is not doing routine maintenance, from just because you think it's going to be okay. And then on the other side of it, my other biggest pet peeve is me not doing my job. If someone leaves before me, on the tree, even if it's in a qualifying session, it's going to eat at me for the rest of the weekend and past that. I'm gonna be dwelling on it. I don't ever want that to happen.
All right, a few more questions here. What's your favorite food to eat?
Mexican food for sure. I love Mexican food. I probably have it at least 3 or 4 days out of the week.
Favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage. Ooh. Yeah, I definitely have to say probably, a nice Captain and Coca-Cola. That's a good beverage right there.
And then if it's not non-alcoholic, what's your favorite beverage for that?
Water. I love water.
Favorite music?
Favorite music, I love all types of music. I guess if I were to have a go-to, it would be hip-hop and rap, for sure. Yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? Man, that's a tough one. I guess the first one that came into my head was Wolf of Wall Street. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. I like that. I like that story. Kind of had the best of both worlds. A guy who was, just trying to strive for his best, and he got a little too carried away, and it got the best of him. But no, yeah, I'd say that's probably one of my favorite movies right there.
All right, now if people want to find out where you're going to be running the funny car, what's the best way for people to follow you?
The best way is, follow me on Facebook or Instagram, Robbie Massey 572. I'm working on starting a website and kind of getting, I don't have a huge following, but whoever wants to know where I'm going to be at, I think that would be a great central place as a website. I haven't got it started yet, but right now, just all social media platforms, I'm at Robbie Massey, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that. That's probably the best place to know where I'm going to be at.
All right. Any final words?
Any final words? I really appreciate you asking me to do this. That's one of the biggest things. I was really happy to hear that you wanted me on your podcast. But other than that, I'm one of the luckiest dudes on the earth to be able to drive a top alcohol funny car. I never take it for granted one day out of the year. I'm so thankful for my crew, Todd, Taylor, my dad, Shelly, my my mom, Sue, my sister, Samantha, my niece, Dorothy, they keep me going. If it wasn't for